out the outside. I didn't care. Like, let them go. We do the classes for the masjid. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Wassalatu wassalamu ala Rasulillahi wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in wa ba'd. So we're on chapter 33. Bab uqubati qati'ir rahimi fi dunya. The punishment for the person who cuts off ties of kinship in the life of this world. We didn't take this hadith, but we took this hadith. All right. So حدثنا Adam and Adam ibn Abi Iyas قال حدثنا الشعبة and الشعبة ibn al-Hajjaj حدثنا عيينة ابن عبد الرحمن قال سمعت أبي يحدث عن أبي بكرة رضي الله عنه قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم ما من ذنب أحرى أن يعجل الله لصاحبه العقوبة في الدنيا مع ما يدخر له في الآخرة من قطيعة الرحم والبغي. So here Abi Bakrata radiallahu anhu, and Abi Bakrata is Nufay' ibn al-Harith. This is Abi Bakrata, not Abi Bakr. And Abu Bakr, that's Abdullah ibn Uthman. His father is Abu Quhafa Uthman. But this is Abu Bakrata with a ta marbuta. This is Nufay' ibn al-Harith. So he said that the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said that there is no sin more deserving of a person having a hastened punishment in the life of this world, this is coupled with the punishment that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is going to give him on the day of judgment. He said, يَدَّخِرُ لَهُ. يَدَّخِر, it means like it's saved up for him. So there's another punishment even saved up for him in the next life, but he gets a hastened up punishment in this life before he gets the bigger punishment in the next life. He said that no sin is more deserving of this than cutting off the ties of kinship and baghi. Baghi is any type of transgression against the rights of people, going beyond boundaries that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has set and transgressing against people, whether it's their wealth, their property, their blood, their honor, or whatever the case may be. All of these things that are inviolable rights of the Muslim. The hadith of Abi Hurairah. Does anybody know the hadith? Even in English. قول المسلمي على مسلمي حرام دمه وماله وعرضه. So every Muslim to another Muslim is haram. He's got these inviolable rights. His blood, his wealth, and his honor. Like, none of these things are allowed to be transgressed against. So any transgression against these three things that is deserving of the person getting a hastened punishment in this life with whatever Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has for him in the next life. Alright. And this is sahih. This hadith is authentic. We already took the hadith, but the hadith is authentic. Alright, so chapter 34. Bab laysa al-wasilu bil-mukafi'. Alright, bil-mukafi'i. Alright, so this chapter, it said that a wasil, the person who keeps the ties of kinship, laysa al-wasilu bil-mukafi'. Al-mukafi' is the one that you give him something good, he gives you something back. Alright, so this is like antukafi'uhu. So he helps you out, and then when he needs help, you help him out. So you paid him back in the manner that so if he does something good to you, you do something good back to him. He says something good to you, you say something good back to him. So this is al-mukafa'ah. Alright, but he said that laysa al-wasilu bil-mukafi'. So that the person who keeps the ties of kinship will never get to the level of paying back. Like even you keeping the ties of kinship, you can never give back what's been given to you, because your parents are always going to outdo you. And even if you were to get rich, let's say that you were to get rich and you bought your mother a house and all this is not sufficient to give up to, because you just bought her a house. But how many years does she give up taking care of you, raising you? How much of her freedom does she give up where she can't go out? How many friends does she lose because now she's taking care of kids and she can't keep up with friends and kids, and then she realizes that her kids are more important?
dreams.
Yeah, exactly. If she was on that type of career path and she had a good job, but she's like, no, my kids need me. I need to take care of my kids, so she gives that up. You know, maybe she was in college and whatever the case may be. You know, it's good that she gave up college. If she was in college, then that was a good thing. I mean, that's obligatory for her to give up college. But
I mean, to a certain extent, right? To a certain extent, all right.
no, to any extent, you would never want to. You want your daughter to go to college in America.
No, but do you know what they do in college?
Do you know what happens to nice young girls when they go to college in America?
I hear
The education is worthless anyway. My daughter got a bachelor's degree.
Have you been to a nightclub before?
Oh, no.
But you know what goes on in a nightclub, right? That's college on Friday night, Saturday night. That's college. And they live for that. You know, they study a couple classes throughout the week and then they party on Friday, Saturday. You know? And then they come into class hungover on Monday. That's it. Women are getting raped on a regular basis. Like, college is the one place where it's just like, I think the rape rate in America is probably, that's where the majority of it comes from.
Being a nurse or anything like that, or well, how would you obtain
So
that?
that's kind of different because nursing school, the environment may be a little bit different. You know, it's mostly women, and I don't know how you feel about that, but it's not the same as like a college life. Oh, 100%.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there is some difference. Like when you embrace the whole college lifestyle, that's kind of what I think the shape is talking about right now. You know, it's a lot that goes along with it. You got your social life. Most of these kids go to school to continue or extend their high school, what they was doing in high school.
Or worse.
You know, and even all of that. So
I've seen like the shy kids, man. They come out of college alcoholics, drug addicts.
all kind of problems.
You know.
And Muslim kids come out atheists.
One thing about that, where the brother's saying about women should go to school. If you're going by the Sunnah, they can't even be in public without a chaperone. So how they gonna do that?
I mean, if we had
floating around the city by themselves.
if we had schools set up for the women where they can go into and be in an Islamic environment, yes. But to be in that type of environment where she's gonna start to see who's, these girls, and now she's gonna start to feel like shy about the way that she's dressing, and then she's gonna see all these girls with their hair out, with their body showing, and all this type of stuff, and that's gonna start to affect them. It's gonna start to affect her, and she's gonna start to be, she's gonna start to feel ashamed for doing what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala commands her to do, because now she's seeing what the people are doing.
It affects them now, because I'm gonna tell you something. A lot of these sisters you see covered up at Juma, you see them in public. Because I done seen some women, they don't be that covered.
But even the ones who maintain the hijab or the proper dress, when they go out in public. So my wife, she's just trained herself not to focus in on people's reactions. Because if she did, it would be just overwhelming.
You never leave your house.
She'll, because everywhere she goes, she gets a look. So it's to the point in time when I'm with her, she zones out, but I watch everything. I'm just trained to watch people's reaction with face, So I do that, and I'm just, she like, if you don't calm down, because and she just look through people. She just don't.
Yeah, you got to.
She don't track their eyes and their reaction to her, just because.
Yeah, because the women have it a lot more difficult than us, man. Because the way that they dress is gonna attract more attention, especially in this country, where you see how the women dress, especially now when it's 105 degrees during the day, and she's,
Disgusting, actually.
huh?
It's disgusting.
Yeah.
I mean, for a Muslim, to like most men be like, ooh, I'd be like, what you put a man clothes on? Why I'd be like, it's not attractive. It's not. I mean, put some clothes on.
Well, that's sad because these women they fed this poison from social media.
I think that's like the modesty. That's why. Like,
No, well, he's talking about the women walking around with no clothes on. That's not attractive.
yeah, that's
Man, like us as men, we want something left up to the imagination. You understand? If you left it all out, then there's nothing. Yeah, saying there's nothing left to the.
I mean, like, what would you think I would want you for a wife?
But there are people out there that for some reason they're dumb enough to take this woman and marry her. Scoop her right off the streets and marry her and then wonder why he's divorced in 2 years and then she's taking everything.
I did that, and I've learned, I would tell this to all the young brothers, take a Muslim wife, that marrying a non-Muslim don't work.
Oh, you can't. It's not permissible anyways.
It don't work.
There's no marriage to these women because they're fornicators. So the marriage is not valid in the first place. Because we already taken those lessons in Bulugh al-Maram over and over and over and over. It's not going to work because you're not married. If you marry one of these Christian girls who's a fornicator, you're a fornicator. Your marriage is not valid. You're fornicating. That marriage is not valid ever. She has to be a chaste Christian girl. She can't be a girl from some Two Live Crew video from the 1980s, you know. So if she's like that, then she's one of these girls that I should stop bringing up these references because there's social media people that are so curious and then they're gonna go search this stuff. Because I obviously bring like the nastiest, you know, like I brought that up because it was just the filthiest garbage of the 80s and late 80s, early 90s. You know, what basically started to destroy the women, you know, and started this whole era of what you see, the dressing and the form of, you know, just the foolishness from the women. But I mean, that's like, how you gonna make that a wife? How is that gonna be legit? That's not legit ever in Islam. That's not valid. It's not a valid marriage. She has to be chaste, you know.
But what if the man's not chaste? Because that goes both
Doesn't
ways.
matter. Then she's not allowed to marry him and he's not allowed to marry her. The marriage is still not valid. They're both fornicators. Both fornicators. He has to go make tawbah. She has to make tawbah. If he's fornicating, he's not allowed to marry a Muslim woman.
It's not presently fornicating, but have.
It doesn't matter if he's fornicating and has not repented.
Okay.
If he's just not fornicating right now because the opportunity doesn't exist, you know, no, that's not repentance. Repentance means that he feels bad for his sins. He stopped doing it. And he's trying to get better, you know, and practice the deen. And then she has to do the same thing. You finally, where'd you get the lighter from? Huh?
Y'all can't come in there with this.
We had a lighter in here, but one of those barbecue lighters. But I think we hid it somewhere.
Robert didn't have a key to the kitchen.
You trying to get in the kitchen?
He was for it to like that. But
Robert doesn't have a key to the kitchen.
He left him at home.
It's just like you.
No, you.
What are you trying to do, man?
You put that out the way.
No, that's what they do that. That's what they do for like.
I haven't seen that, man. They put it over the thing, the shemal. They take the shemal and they put it over, so it gets in like the beard and the shemal. Yeah. All right, so bab laysa al-wasilu bil mukafi. All right, so the la yasala, so basically he'll never reach the state of paying back all the good that's been done to him. حدثنا محمد بن كثير قال أخبرنا سفيان, and Sufyan here is a Thawri, and Al-Amash. Al-Amash is very, very famous. We talked about him a lot. Al-Amash is from the Imams of Hadith, and he is a character, boy. He's a character. Y'all never heard any of the stories of Al-Amash before? And Al-Amash was a character. Like I made one video on YouTube about it. So I mean, you can go back and just look at the different stories. But he was like one guy, because the whole content of the video, if you look at the title of the video, like he spit in his face or this. I can't remember what the title. I didn't give the video the title. Sajid gave the video the title, so I can't remember the title. But it was about him, because what happened was he didn't like small students, like people trying to come and take hadith from him. He had certain students, only those students he would talk to. He's blind, so some students would try to sneak into his sitting with a tablet and write hadith. So one day a guy was sitting right next to him, real close, and obviously he's blind, so you know the blind people, they have like this strong sense of perception of things around them. he felt it like, the guy was next to him and he was trying to write. So he had to stay quiet because if he said anything, Al-Amash should get up and leave. He's like, he'll kick him out. He said, you get out the masjid and he'll leave. So that's it. Class is done for the day. So Al-Amash knew he was sitting next to him. So he got all the mucus and gathered it all up that he could grab and just turned around and spit it right into the guy's face. And he sat there and he said, and it was all over his face. And he said, I had to remain quiet because if I said one word, he'd get up and leave. So he sat there. He said, maybe nobody's there. Haddathana, and then he started giving the hadith, and the guy started, because he was like, basically, if you went through this, you can sit. So like even one time he had a dog, and he got a dog and he trained the dog to bite any of the students that came and asked him for hadith. So like anybody that came to his house, the dog would just attack him. So then one day somebody's knocking at the door and he went to go check the door. And there's two students, they were at the door. He said, how did you get to my door? He said, Amash, your dog is dead. Your dog has died. And he said, may Allah have mercy on the one that used to command the good and forbid the evil. Talking about, كان ينهى عن المعروف يأمر بالمعروف وينهى عن المنكر. His dog. But he was real rough, like he was real rugged. So the people used to always talk about his manners, but boy, when it came to hadith and like Quran and hadith, never made mistakes. Even though he was blind, and that's why the people would take the spitting in the face and take the insults and take, all the type of stuff because they knew, like,
What generation was he from?
Yeah, he's from the second, third generation. Because you see right here, the Sufyan al-Thawri, Amash is his sheikh. Amash is the sheikh of Sufyan al-Thawri. So he's powerful. And he's from the ulama, from the imams of the qira'at. So the recitation of the Quran. So mashallah. You got to read about him, but a lot of people, they don't know about him, man. But that story was in Sharf Ashab al-Hadith from Khatib al-Baghdadi. And he brought all those stories with the change in narrations. So he said, والحسن بن عمرو والفطر عن مجاهد عن عبد الله بن عمرو رضي الله عنهما قال سفيان لم يرفعه الأعمش إلى النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم ورفعه الحسن والفطر عن النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم قال ليس الواصل بالمكافئ ولكن الواصل الذي إذا قطع رحمه وصلها. So he said, so it goes back to Abdullah ibn Amr radiallahu anhuma, and Sufyan al-Thawri, he said that Al-Amash, he did not say that this was a statement of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He said that this was a statement of Abdullah ibn Amr. But Al-Hasan wa Fitr, those two, they said that it was a statement of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He said, قال ليس الواصل بالمكافئ ولكن الواصل الذي إذا قطعت رحمه وصلها. So he said that the wasil, the one who keeps the ties of the kinship, is not the one who
reaches.
I don't know how to say that in English, like the one who returns a favor of good. Returns a favor, I guess you could say.
But you explained there was a word.
That's al-mukafi.
So a person never reaches that. What I was trying to say.
Yeah, he's not going to reach that. He's not going to return the favor of all the good that's been done to him. He can't return it. He said, وَلَكِنَ الْوَاصِلَ الَّذِي إِذَا قُطِعَ رَحِمَهُ وَصَلَهَا. But he said the person who keeps the ties of kinship is the one that if those ties are cut, he reconnects them. Like he reconnects them, but he's not a mukafi. All right, because the mukafi is the one who goes back and he gives back any good that's done to him. He gives that good back. But in this case, he's just doing what's obligatory upon him. If any of those ties of kinship are cut, that's not something that's a praiseworthy quality. That's like what? It's like saying like, oh, mashallah, Mujahid is such a good guy. He prays 5 times a day. Yeah, he's supposed to pray 5 times a day. So the same thing with the ties of kinship. This is something that's obligatory. So this is not the mukafa'at in the this returning of good to people. This is not an obligation. This is not something that's obligatory. So you'll never reach that stage. Like of The mukafa, you can't pay that back anyways, because you haven't gotten the mukafa is when you go into that stage of what things that are not obligatory. You're doing something extra now. But keeping those ties of kinship, you haven't even gotten to that stage, and you'll never repay. You can never repay your family, your mother, your father, everybody. Because just imagine like the hours that your father had to work every day, just so you could sit in the electricity, air conditioning, have the food, and you know what I'm saying, all the stuff that you needed, and the mother doing all this type of stuff, and for years and years and years and years and years and years. What are you gonna do as a grown man to pay her back for that? You can't, because you could buy her a house in her twilight years or whatever when she's like 60, 65, and she's getting up there in age, but she gave you what? She gave you the best of her years. Like my mother, she got married when she's 19. She had me when she was 21. That was the best of her years, akhi. You know what I'm saying? So at 21, like 19, she's married. You understand? 21, she's got a child. 23, she's got another child. And those are the best of her years. Like that's the time where it's like you have the most energy. You're enjoying life. You have all this passion and desire and determination to do things. So she gave you those years. And now what do you give? You give back to her in what years? These years where she's just like, don't care no more. You know what I'm saying? You know how old people get with it. They start to get impatient and stop caring. Like all that stuff now, they know now what matters and what doesn't matter. So all that stuff, most
like
of
the house, to them it's not, it's nice to have, but could have did without it probably.
I mean, if you bought like my grandmother, you buy or any grandmother, you buy like a 3-bedroom house. If you bought her a mansion, she probably complains. What am I gonna do with all these rooms? I gotta walk 20 minutes just to get to the bathroom. The kitchen's on the other side of the house. Now you gotta buy me like a go-kart just to get to the kitchen or something. She'll start complaining. But the house is too big. Because that stuff doesn't matter anymore. They're past that age of showing off and caring. All they want is things that are just practical. Just give me now what I can use and what I need that makes my life easier. Now, you buy this big old house, the life ain't easy. She got to go up and down these stairs, and life ain't easy no more. Grandma probably ain't gonna leave the first floor, man. Imagine if the bathrooms are on the second floor. What's she gonna do?
Stay on the second floor and I come down to the first.
What, the kitchen's on the first floor? What's she gonna do?
Probably go back to her old house.
Yeah, exactly. Sell this house and get me a caravan trailer or something like that, But yeah, man, subhanAllah. All right, so we got to take from any questions over there?
It's a lot of questions. Okay.
Keep in mind, I only slept like 30 minutes today. So
why Mujahid was made the cleaner of the masjid. You probably want to go past this.
Nah, nobody made my son the cleaner of the masjid. My son does that because he loves the masjid. Because there was one day we were in the live stream, and Mujahid was out there cleaning everything because I don't know if it's before Jummah or whatever. And I said, well, Mujahid's not here because he's outside cleaning the masjid. He does that because he wants to do it.
So this guy says no one else is cleaning the masjid. Why should
You don't really see that a lot.
why should he have to make up for other people's lazy?
There ain't nobody lazy here. Alhamdulillah.
And he said Assad, Hussein, or Hamza or Obama.
I mean, they know the names of everybody in the masjid,
Or
huh?
someone like that should be the cleaning.
No, the person asking the question should be cleaning it because they know too much. Yeah, you should be volunteering to clean it. Got something to say, man.
Nah, that's
So if he goes on later on, he asks another question. Is it allowed to say, oh my God?
I say, gosh.
oh my God.
Same thing as saying Ya Allah. Same thing.
Okay.
I wouldn't say, y'all, y'all, I wouldn't say that.
So
Well, we don't call Allah God, so I guess it would be wrong.
I think he was asking the shaykh for his. So
I mean, we should never ever get accustomed to saying that word God.
I never used to say that. I'd be like, oh my God, but they'd be like, who is your God? I'd be like, oh.
Yeah, I mean, this word God is a word that's made up by these Christians. As no, so, say subhanAllah.
I was taught this thing about the word God. The word Allah can only be used in one way. That is for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You can't use that word any other way. God can be used a lot of different ways.
Well, the thing about the word God is nobody even knows where this word is derived from. It's just a made up word in the English language. And I never liked it because spell it backwards. Dog. So I'm like, it's almost like there's like a joke, right?
Yeah.
Like, well, let's just like, we're going to turn, because you got to understand witchcraft, what do they do a lot?
Flip things.
They do things backwards. They spell things backwards. So who knows if this was a joke that they did?
No, because I'm thinking.
I thought you heard the motorcycle, so you got,
No, I'm thinking of like, because he just said something like, where did this word originate from?
It doesn't, nobody knows. They just made it up, and it's from the English language. So where did it come from? None of these books were revealed in the English language. So if you want to call, go back to the original language of these books and then call, but we know what Allah called himself because we have the Quran. So we know the names of Allah. We use the word Allah. We don't use the word God. I don't see it as permissible to refer to Allah as God, because Allah never referred to himself as God. This is something that man made up. And we don't take our deen and we don't call Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala by names that man made up.
He told us what names to call him by. There's 99 of them. And that ain't one of them.
No, there's more than 99
There's
names.
more than 99?
Well, there's 99 that we were taught. But he's got names that he has, that he kept with him, that we don't know, that are not revealed to us.
So the next question is, if not praying makes you a kafir, then specifically, when do you have to retake shahada?
You don't have to retake shahada, you gotta make tawbah.
That was my opinion, because I was like, okay, because people ask that a lot.
There's not, nobody from amongst the ulama ever talked about, because the issue before, because obviously Islam wasn't controlled back in those days, so the issue was not about the shahada, the issue was about when does the person in authority kill him. And then this is where the difference of opinion came about from Imam Ahmad, Imam Shafi'i, and all the different madhahib. So some people said, if he leaves off one salat, kill him, And then some of the ulama said if he leaves off, it depends, because let's say he leaves off dhuhr. So they said, because you can combine between dhuhr and asr, so you give him up until asr. If he doesn't pray asr, then if maghrib comes and he still hasn't prayed, then you kill him. This is where the difference of opinion came, as how many salawat does he have to leave off before the person in authority, because once he refuses to pray, they jail him. And this is back in, when it's like I said, Islam was strong, and the country they ruled by Islam. But that doesn't happen today. Very, very, we have countries, alhamdulillah, they rule by aspects of Islam, but these types of aspects, they're not. If that was the case right now,
Gaza wouldn't be getting done what it's done.
I mean, if you took right now, if you went to Yemen, Saudi, and a lot of countries in the Khalij, and you took out the people who don't pray, you're gonna 1/3 of the population of all these countries is gone. It's gone. 1/3 of the population of each one of those countries, the majority of the students that I saw in the Saudi school system do not pray. Like half of them at least. Half. So
Younger generation.
yeah, and
So the call is made, they don't get up to go pray. They just don't pray. How did you know that? How did you know that they didn't pray?
No, I'm saying in school they had to pray. Man, if I told you the stuff that I used to hear in schools in Saudi Arabia, man, I'd never be allowed back in that country again, So I'm not even gonna go through it. But I mean, just the stuff the students used to say. And I'm like, for their excuses of not praying. Woo, boy, I can't even say this stuff because the women are listening.
So are most of these students, are they the ones that came from abroad to go there to study? Are they
Mixed.
So it's some of the native.
Well, the students that prayed the most, Egyptians, Syrians, Saudi kids, actually, the majority, like, nah, they didn't. Like, Salah was the last concern. But see, you gotta understand, like, the school system in Saudi. My experience was with those international schools, and those are like the worst of the worst, because they just want to be American, you know. All they want to do is, like, back in those days, they want to just Tupac this and Tupac that. Even to the point where one day when I was talking to one of the students, and he's like, "Oh, I love Tupac," and I told him, "You do?" He said, "Yeah." I said, "Man, Allah raise you up on the day of judgment with him." He's like, he did like this, Akhi, and he's like, "I don't love him like that." And I was like, "Nah, that's if you love a person, you get raised up on the day of judgment with him. So since you love him, may Allah raise you up on the day of judgment with the person that you love, since you love him so much." Oh boy, he did not like that. Boy, his face changed. He's like, "Why are you making dua on me like that?" I was like, "Well, you were talking about how much you loved him 2 minutes ago, right? So since you love him so much, that's you want to go ahead and be punished with him too,
This is a student expressing an ignorant statement. Like, if you had that fault, you should keep that to yourself. Like, you really enjoyed that. It's like, it's no shame.
Akhi, I went and I spoke with Mufrad, which is the brother Napoleon that used to rap with the Outlaws.
Right.
So I told him, I said, "Yeah, akhi, please come and talk to these kids. Please. Just talk to them. You used to rap with Tupac, and you know the despicable nature of that business, and you know everything. Talk to them." Man, that talk did not, like, all they did was, "Is Tupac really dead?" I was like, yeah. Yeah, I'm like, man, I'll bring this brother here to talk to y'all about the deen, and about how he left that life behind him, and how he went to the life of, Islam.
That's what I
And,
noticed most of the interviews I seen with him too. He's still talking about events that happened during that time.
Yeah.
How bad it was, what's wrong with it, why you should stay away from it. He's giving you details from a first-hand perspective, basically.
yeah, and even one of the teachers, Akhi, when we went into the school, one of the teachers walked up to him and he's like, "Oh," like he was starstruck. I'm like, "Dude, you're supposed to be the role model here." Like, the kids, well, the teacher was like, "Oh my God, you're Napoleon." I was like, "No, he's Mutah. He's a Muslim. Stop calling him. But this is the whole thing. This is the concern, and this is the majority of the youth. So you started just, putting heads on the chopping block with the person in authority, for not praying. Oh my God, man, we're gonna have a population control. So that's population control. Just like anybody that doesn't pray.
I hadn't heard that too. I heard that you can actually hear people driving down the street in Saudi playing rap in the cars. I don't know how true that is.
Yeah.
You experienced that too?
I mean, it's nothing that I can like point out a specific incident. I'm pretty sure I experienced it a lot. Because a lot of those kids that go to America and they come back and they just act stupid.
You ever seen on YouTube? And they doing a whole lot of stuff they doing over here, over there. They want the car, the motorcycle.
Yeah, but they got the money to do that stuff. So it's like, so they have the money to be more American than we are.
Way.
Yeah.
The stuff we fantasize about is nothing.
Yeah, because we ain't living like that. You know what I'm saying?
Nothing.
So I don't know, but I mean, maybe some rich kids up in like Clovis or something like that, but like, all over here.
Living like the ones inside.
No, not even close. Not even close. Not even close. I mean, some of those dudes, like it was one of the guys that was running his mouth the most about, Tupac was a prince. He's a prince. Yeah, I mean, I went to go to this kid's house one time. I'm like, look at this man. Like, this kid, he had servants all throughout the house. He was like, I come in the house and he's like, "What do you want? Cappuccino, espresso? We got all the machines, everything." It's like, this dude doesn't have to go to Starbucks. I think he had a masjid at his house, like an actual masjid. But this kid probably never prayed in his life. Never prayed. I've never seen this kid pray. But I mean, just like you see the way that he lives, Akhi, you think he's gonna go and respect anything? Like, this kid's got the money to seriously, like, live the American dream for real, you know what I'm saying? Like, be way more American than American. So it's just like, Islam is the last thing on.
Still taking questions.
Yeah.
Okay. This brother asks, Ustad, is it permissible to use an image of a celebrity or disbeliever as a profile picture without their permission? Does this fall under the category of impersonation? I notice a lot of people doing this these days, especially amongst the Muslim youth.
It's not permissible for you to post pictures, period.
Yeah.
Any images, much less images of, not an image of yourself, not an image of anybody else. But then on top of that, like these celebrities, why would you want to represent? Look, man, these celebrities are the
social media question.
But I'm saying, like, these celebrities, we know they're the filthiest of people. You gotta understand, like, maybe a lot of people, they don't really understand, like, how much. I'll give you one example. There was one brother, and I'm not gonna say his name, but he was with us in Yemen, but he'll know if he hears this, he'll know what I'm talking about. Very good brother, very, very good brother. He used to be a model, just one of those brothers that Allah just blessed him with that look, This dude used to be on billboards and stuff, and and just modeling throughout New York. So it's like one time he said he was like at a party, what is that dude? All those famous dudes, like the model guys like Tyson, whoever these guys are, right? He mentioned their names, right? He said they would all go to these parties, and he's just like all the type of stuff that, was going on in these parties. Now, he wanted to go, and he told me like go to Brazil, and just women all over the place, all the time. He said now to go to that next level, to get past that billboard level, to get past all that level, he said, I was not willing to do what they wanted me to do. And that's that. And that's how he ended it. He said, now I became Muslim. I started practicing Islam. I left that because he said, I was not willing to take that step of what they wanted me to do. And most of that stuff involves homosexuality. It involves you just giving your whole, whatever it is, whatever reservations you have or whatever you have, that's still that natural hayat, that shyness, they're going to get rid of that. They're going to get rid of that. Like you see what they do with a lot of the male actors. You got to put them in a dress. You got to put them in these roles that are very demeaning and they want to break you down, and they want to make you to where like you're controlled by them. So these celebrities are garbage, akhi. Like seriously, like if you were to take, out of all the role models, like if you go back and you read through all the lives of the Salaf, and then what do you want from a celebrity? What do these people do? What great thing have they ever done? All they did was they sold their soul to get what they got. And that's it. They sold their shyness, they sold their fitrah, that natural disposition that Allah gave them. That created them with, and they sold that. They just got rid of it just to do what? For a little bit of fame. And a lot of them don't even really get famous, And then you see what happens. Then they ended up, getting all gym possessed, running around, flipping out, going crazy, doing all these types of foolishness. Why would you want to take a person like that as a model to follow? Go back and, you look at the seerah, go back and read the life of the Prophet. You have a book, it's called Usdul Ghaba, which is the lives of the Sahaba. Go back and read about the lives of the Sahaba and read. Those are great people. Those are the people that changed this world. Like the whole changed everything in the world that you see today. They brought that change. Of course, now the people are trying to destroy it now, but I'm saying all the khair that was spread throughout all Islam, just being spread throughout the world, Tawheed and everything, it was all from them. So what these celebrities spread? Facade, corruption, evil. What would you want to take them as put an image up? Like that's ta'zeem anyways. And the original shirk of people, the original shirk started according to Abdullah ibn Abbas was because of what? Shaitan came to them, said, why don't you make drawings, like these little carvings and drawings of the people from before that used to be righteous to do what? To remind you to do good. So you see these images of these guys, and then what? It reminds you to do good. It reminds you of good. So then it wasn't like this generation died, the next thing you know, the grandkids are worshiping those images. So no, that's not permissible. That goes against every aspect of Tawheed. Because when you put those images up, you're putting those images up for ta'zeem of that person. That ta'zeem is only for Allah and His deen. Say, you don't do that for no human being. No person, especially not no stinky, funky kafir. You know, it's like, what would you want to do that for? The kafir doesn't even wash properly. Could you imagine that? This kafir lived the whole life, doesn't even wash their backside properly, and you want to go and put a picture up doing ta'zeem of this? Nah, man, no.
Yes. Ustaz, are the virtues of Dhul Hijjah applicable to the night as well, or is it only during the day?
Well, again, about the 10 days of Dhul Hijjah.
Yeah, the virtues.
Is the actions that are done during the day. Because the actions that are done during the night are the last 10 nights of Ramadan.
Is it the day of Arafat?
That doesn't mean that you don't do good at night. You still do good at night. But I mean,
Is it the day of Arafat where people try to fast for 2 years?
2 years.
I heard something like 2 years of their sins forgiven.
mm,
Day of Arafat?
mm,
Okay.
I never been.
Saturday show.
What are your thoughts on brothers who show their bodies off on social media, like almost exposing their aura and giving dawah at the same time? They say they are motivating people and that it's not to show off or arrogance. Is this befitting of a Muslim, let alone a student of knowledge?
Still in the knowledge should be teaching the people the deen.
But why are these questions so important about another person's action?
Because this stuff goes on throughout social media.
That's-
People, because what happens is people, they don't really have knowledge. They go out, they start giving dawah. And, you know, it's just like I was talking to a brother the other day. It's like the biggest problem with a lot of people, they come back to the West and they become imams in the masjid. Now, you know, you might think, okay, like the imam, when is most of his jobs going to be? It's going to be a fajr. It's mostly going to be like in the late afternoon and the evening, right? So he's got all this free time during the day. So when you look at like the free time, you know, the free time is not free time. You know, I'm sitting here like, I feel this, like you see this notebook is full of, you know, like research. And even sometimes for this lesson alone, I'm taking 5 or 6 books off the shelf. That's what my days are spent doing whenever I have to prepare for these classes. But a lot of people, they come back, they have that free time and they start spending it on their hobbies. Oh, I want to do this. Oh, I want to go out to the mountains. Oh, I want to learn Kung Fu. Oh, I want to start working out. And then what happens is over time, he's an imam in the masjid. He starts off teaching Quran and the Sunnah, but then over time, he starts posting stuff about his hobbies, and then the deen becomes something like, oh, this is my job. You understand? This is not a job. I mean, if it becomes a job to you, then go get a real job then, because this is not a job. This is a duty. You know, it's not a job. And then when the person starts looking at it as a job and then starts putting the focus on their hobbies, and this is what you see. The guy's working out and he's taking pictures of himself. You know, like, God, come on, man, seriously. And this is supposed to be dawah.
Vanity.
Yeah.
I'm gonna tell you, I hate to look at myself in the mirror. And it's like, no, I mean, even if I see a dude look in the mirror, I'll be like, bro, women stare in the mirror, bro, cut that out.
And women, and the mirrors were made for women.
I don't like them. I don't like to look at myself. But, you know, the people, like pictures and stuff, that's vanity, bro. And that's a trait we shouldn't have.
Remember just from
I mean, it's not just, I mean, there's so much stuff. I mean, you start taking pictures of themselves. Like I talked about before, they start taking pictures of food, start taking pictures of, you know.
Well, I take pictures of food.
Yeah, but I'm saying, like, you're.
Well, I be like you say.
No, but I'm saying, you're an imam in a masjid.
Oh, yeah.
You have to get the people focused on, if you want to motivate people to do deen. You want to post pictures on social media, post pictures of books. Post pictures of things like that. Post pictures of things that motivate the people to practice their deen. What are you motivating the people to do when you're sitting there doing pull-ups or doing bench press and taking pictures of yourself? What are you motivating them to do? Go out and fight? Yeah, most of those people, I'm telling you, they don't have experience in war. And I'm telling you, the people that actually fought in war were not those dudes. The real lions. You know, when I was speaking about, like, we went over the Seeking Knowledge book the other day, and that was a part of the thing. I said I saw I saw like, you know, like nerds, like these real like nerdish guys become like lions in Yemen. But then I saw those big, you know, the big bears become like little kitty cats, because those dudes, they're like, oh, I'm getting ready to fight. I'm getting ready to fight. When the fighting starts, they're nowhere to be found. It's that nerdy dude that was sitting in the masjid with his mushaf all day long. He's the one that's on the front line. And all those dudes that were always on the front line, because that strength in your heart to fight against an enemy that you're always going to be outnumbered by. As us from Ahl Sunnah, we're always going to be outnumbered. Any enemy that we fight against, we look at our state right now in Fresno. Look at our state now in the world. You know, you got China, Russia, Iran, America, Britain, France, all these superpowers, and then there's us as Muslims. You think all the pull-ups in the world you can do is going to strengthen your heart to go up against an enemy like that? Dude, you gotta be like, only Allah can give you that strength. Nah, I'm saying most of those dudes, they don't do nothing. They don't do nothing. I remember one brother told me like one time in Damascus, it's like they were having a problem because the trenches, like the Houthis, they kept shooting at them, and they needed to get rid of those trenches. They needed to push the Houthis back. So one Yemeni, a skinny Yemeni brother, said, I'll take care of it. Okay, that brother took a grenade and crawled over to the Houthis, crawled on the ground, boom, and crawled back, unharmed. You see, that's heart, Akhi. Who gave him that strength in his heart to do that? Allah. Where did that come from? That came from obedience to Allah. You know, that's where that comes from. That doesn't come from him sitting up in the gym doing pull-ups and taking pictures of himself, talking about I'm motivating people. You want to motivate people? This is how you motivate them. Get them attached to the deen, Tawheed, because you can have the strongest body in the world. You know this. Everybody, I think everybody here has been locked up, right? How many of those big dudes had the weakest hearts? And the skinny dudes, the dude like a little pencil. But that dude had a heart like a lion. He'd be fighting every single body. Yeah. I mean, you see that all the time. How much do you need to learn? You know, those bodybuilder dudes were never the dudes that you were afraid of. I was always scared of that skinny dude, because that skinny dude loves to fight everybody. And the bigger the better for him, because it's more of a challenge. You know, and he likes to embarrass people. And we've seen a lot of dudes like that, just knocking dudes out. There's one brother, and he was my brother, stuff for Allah, but there's a Puerto Rican friend of mine back in middle school. Every time, right, because he was so quiet, so nice, right? But everybody, they come up and run their mouth to him. So kid Rodney, he came up like, oh, I'm gonna do this. And he just, boom, right in the mouth. Right? You know what I'm saying? It's like, you know, no words, no loud, no curse words, no nothing, just popped him right in the mouth. And Rodney was so shocked he couldn't do anything, and then everybody broke it up. Rodney comes back to him in school again. Man, all right, now do that again. It's like right in the mouth. He just did it again. You know, in front of the teachers, he's popped them right in the mouth. No words, no, you know, none of that behavior. That loud trash talk, you know, I'm motivating people to go out and fight or go out to, you know, we need to prepare the enemies. Actually, you ain't doing nothing. It's mushahad. Wallah, it's been witnessed over and over and over from anybody who has that type of experience. Like the last person that I want next to me, if something breaks out, is that dude taking pictures on social media. Like, you're going to get us killed. You're going to get us killed. You are going to get us the punishment of Allah. I don't want you nowhere near me. Give me that nerdy dude that sits in the masjid with the mushaf. That's the guy I want next to me. You know, because that dude.
You can see what's happening even with the war between Russia and you know Ukraine. What they're doing is the hot shots or the people who out there for the fame highlight. They're taking pictures of themselves in certain places, and they're being targeted by the enemy at the exact places because they so vain taking pictures with their guns in their hands. They're inadvertently giving the enemy their location and get bombed. You know, so it's crazy.
كان في ناس رافضة في سوريا ومصوروا نفسهم يعني يقولوا نحن أقوياء وكان في حق الكهرباء وناس شافوه وعرفوا وينهم وطلبوا صواريخ عليهم. That's what he's saying now. I mean, it's easy. It's easy to
run all that, you know, and do all that talking and all that stuff in times of peace. But when those bombs start flying and those,
And Mike Tyson said something. He said everybody got to play until they get punched in the face.
well, forget about punching
That's
the
real. That's
forget
real.
about the punch in the face. Wait till those big bullets start flying. I ain't talking about those little. I'm not talking about those AK-47. I'm talking wait till those big bullets start flying.
Let me share something with you. You talking about all that big bad stuff, right? I go to prison. I'm 19. It's fun. I'm gang banging. I'm with all the Crips and stuff, and I hear about stuff. Ooh, riots in prison. Ooh, riots. You see them on TV. So we about to have a riot at Soledad. I'm getting pumped up. We get ready to take off. Man, a riot starts. I run. I hear boom, boom, boom. Oh, ooh. They didn't tell me about the boy. Oh, they didn't tell me they was gonna be shooting. Oh, I didn't. Man.
Oh, you thought they had those towers up there for a show?
I was all for it until I heard them gunshots. I tried to squeeze into a corner like that. They didn't tell me they'd be shooting at you. They left that part out.
They didn't show that in the documentaries, huh?
They left that part out. I was like, yeah, man, you know.
Well, you didn't see what they did to George Jackson? Come on, man.
I ain't that old.
What are you talking about? George Jackson was in the 70s.
I was born in the 60s.
But he was in Soledad. He was in Soledad.
George Jackson got killed in 71.
Yeah, they pulled him out and they said, but they said he escaped and they shot him from those towers.
Yeah.
Shot him.
He had a gun in his afro or something like that.
No, they made up all this stuff, but yeah. They made it like he was escaping. And then because they had just had a riot in Soledad. And I think one of the police officers or somebody got killed, right? I think they threw the officer off the tier or something. And then he got blamed for it. So he was only in prison for 1 year to life.
And did 11 years.
Yeah, but I mean, no, he got life because he died in prison. You know, so
he had life, but he did 11 years.
Yeah, but and then lost his life in prison. Yeah, but that was the whole thing because they tried to make it like he was escaping so they could shoot him and just get rid of him. You see what happened?
I read the book.
Soledad, brother.
Yeah, Soledad, brother. I was locked up with some of the Soledad 6. Some of them were still there.
I have that book in Jacksonville. Soledad, brother.
Did you
I read it twice.
Did you read the letters of George Jackson?
I read all of the last book that I read when I got back to Jacksonville was Blood in My Eye. But that was kind of, when I read that book, I'm like, dude, George, you terrorist, like, you terrorist, George.
Let me tell you something. The letters of George Jackson to this day touch me and they affect me because there's one when he was talking about his mother and he was talking about how he forgive his mother and he was explaining how his mother could only teach him what she knew.
Yeah.
And when he broke that part of it down, like you can't fault him.
Oh, when you read his stuff, you're like, this he was young.
Yeah, but that affected me, especially with my relationship with my mother. It did because my mother had me when she was 14 when she had me and she had my sister when she was 12. So my mother had 4 kids until she was 18. So, you know, that affected me and allowed me to mend ties because I can tell you some stories and it is because of this demon that I have a relationship with my mother. It's because of this demon, you know, and to understand that my mother could only teach me what she knew as having a baby at 12 or 14 years old. So some of the animosity and anger, I had to let it go. And that Brother Letter helped me do that.
Yeah, that's
you can't fault your parents.
No, you can't because they're doing what they know. They're doing what they think is best for you, even if it's not.
But it's all they know, you know. But see, we learn better, so we're gonna fault them because we know better than them.
We learn better, so we teach better. And forgive them. Because if you learn better, you should be more forgiving, especially to your parents. Man. You know, I don't ever like all the stuff that happened between me and my mother. I still apologize to my mother. I don't ever. I forget all that. I don't even think that like my mother owes me an apology. You know, because you know, and when I visited her in jail, she told me, she said, you know, you're probably disappointed in me because I visited nobody. Like as soon as she got locked up, this is when she got locked up the 3rd time, so I was older. So I went straight up. I called the jail, found out when the visitation day is. I was right there, you know, in the jail cell, you know, not in the jail visiting. She's like, you're probably disappointed in me, aren't you? So I'm not disappointed in you. The only thing that I'm disappointed in you is that you know, you have to understand that, you know, being poor, we could be poor, but we have our mother. You did what you had to do, what you thought you had to do to feed us and do, you know, and give us the extra things in life that you saw all the other kids have. Nobody's gonna blame you for that. But you gotta understand too that we were poor, and so what if we're poor? So what if we don't have the things that we have? But we have family, that's the most important thing. You know, and you know, just sitting there having that conversation with my mother, you know, halas. I mean, you can't like, how can you fault her? You know, she's struggling on her own to do what she's doing. Of course, she's gonna make mistakes. But you're talking about your mother having a child at 12.
But in our ignorance, ignorance, we did. And some of we did. And you know, it wasn't all roses. But all that is what made me the man I am today. You can't take none of your trials and your strides away from your past, because you're gonna change your future. Something you went through in your past is got something to do with.
Well, that's the maturity aspect, right? If you're still blaming people, you haven't matured.
That's what I said about my older siblings. They still complain right now today. They blame my mother for how their life turned out. And I'm thinking to myself, you've been an adult longer than you were a child.
Wow.
You know, you've been an adult for 30 something years. You know, 30, 40 years, and you still complaining about stuff that happened in your childhood. You had 35, 40 years to correct that stuff. To get, you know, and you, come on, man, you can cut it out.
I mean, look at the situation. How many siblings do you have?
2 older and 1 younger.
And how many?
Just by my mom.
How many complainers?
3.
Like, you see, like my sister, right? My sister went through the same stuff that I went through. I was going to jail and my sister went to college. But we were raised by the same mother. We went through the same experiences. But it's how you deal with those experiences. She chose to lock herself in the room and study because she said, I don't want to live, I want out of this life. I don't want to have nothing to do with this life anymore. And the faster I can get out of it, the better for me. With me, I was like, you know, I was taking my anger out on the world, you know, and that's why I told her. Even the first time that I got locked up for shooting at rich people. I went up to a rich person's house and shot up because I told my friend, I said, come on, because we're going to make these fools, they're going to feel our pain today. They're going to feel our pain. Like, we don't, you know what I'm saying? We don't get to, like, enjoy our lives. We're not going to let them enjoy their lives today. And I went right up to the dude and shot at him, and he was drinking tea and busted, the bullet went right through the teacup. Destroyed his whole day, you know, and destroyed my next couple of years, you know, getting locked up and being on probation, and you know. But I mean, that was the attitude. But it's the maturity. You're gonna go through. How long do you expect to live life, and what do you expect to benefit out of life? Keeping that type of attitude. That attitude is gonna burn you up and destroy you out here, you know.
If you can't make peace with it and move on, you don't know what's gonna suffer. Everybody else moves. You know, but and also in defense of our mothers and the mistakes that they made, and even our fathers to a certain extent, how can we blame them for falling victim to this broken, rotten society that's designed to trap people and destroy them the way that it did a lot of our parents in their young age? You know, my mother went through the same thing, drugs, you know what I'm saying? You know, and so from about 12 to, you know, I ended up in the pen. I was pretty much running the streets on my own because of that. But I got to a certain point in my life, probably around my early 20s. I just realized I can't blame her. I stopped blaming her, never threw it in her face, whatever. You know what I'm saying? And that's what people have to do, man. You got to take accountability for yourself.
And you got to learn from it. I wasn't like abused, but I could neglect it. And I had one child. My daughter's 40. And you use them experience, whatever. If you got a situation with your parents, just try your best not to be that type of parent. Just try to improve on it. That's all you can do.
Yeah.
Not fall, but okay, I didn't like the way I was raised this type of way. Okay, I'll not do that to my child. But this thing about not whooping them, I'm gonna tell you something. I never whooped my daughter a day in her life. I've never had to talk to her twice either. Because I didn't start raising her when she was 5. I started raising her when she was born.
Yeah.
When she was born.
Question. Is there a formula seeing Prophet Islam in your dream?
Is there what?
Is there a formula?
What do you mean a formula? I don't know. I'm asking the person.
Two I gotta do this, do that.
And he asked again right after that, my event. Oh, he deleted.
Probably because I was mad.
I was reading, or I think I was watching something about dreams, and I know the brother can speak on it more, but dreams can be like nothing, or they can be something. Like every time you have a dream, it don't necessarily mean it has to have a meaning. Am I correct?
Yeah, you have different types of dreams. So you have dreams that are just like things that you think about, which is the majority of the dreams that people have. Just their thoughts, their daily thoughts, and the things that they come out in the dreams. And then you have dreams that are from the shaitan. And you have dreams that, like,
Could be,
Yeah, great dream.
could be probably from Allah, subhanahu wa ta'ala.
No, I mean, you have like real dreams. So, I mean,
But everybody thinks I had a dream, so this dream made.
I mean, you have to be able to tell the difference between what the dream is.
Yeah.
So I mean,
I had a dream, like, I already said it, but I had a dream, I messed up my hairline. So, I was like, oh,
That was a nightmare. That was a dream.
I was like, oh no, what is this?
Well, look, the brother just said dreams can be like what you're thinking.
or is that what you're thinking about your hairline all day long? You know,
No,
it's
no,
like,
I wasn't though. I didn't think I wasn't. So I was like, man, I think
Subconsciously,
yeah.
what you had a dream about your hairline.
Well, next question.
So he says too many Sufis where I'm at after the question about the formula. But I think he's asking, is there a formula for seeing the Prophet?
Well, I don't understand the formula. You want to see the prophet?
That's what I'm thinking he's asking. How is there
I mean, look at all the ulama that didn't see the prophet in their dream. I mean, even Sheikh Al-Albani, rahimahullah, the woman saw a dream with the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and she called Sheikh Al-Albani, and she said that she saw the Prophet walking, and whenever he walked, he left a footprint. And she said that I saw you, and she's talking to Sheikh Al-Albani, I saw you, and everywhere that the footprint of the Prophet was, you put your foot in the exact same place. And and he was this was a recording when she called, and he told everybody, he said, everybody get out. He kicked everybody out, so he started crying, because he understood the meaning of that dream. But I'm saying he himself didn't even see the dream. It was the woman that saw the dream. So, it's not necessary, like, the Prophet ﷺ said, "Man ra'ani fa manami faqad ra'ani." Whoever sees me in a dream, in a sleep, then he's really seen me. But that doesn't mean.
That must be what he's talking about then.
Yeah, but I mean, the thing is that you have these ulama that study the Sunnah and spend their whole time with the Sunnah, and they don't see the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. What does that mean? Does that mean that something's not good about them, or So this is not something that they try to do. It's not something that they're like, oh, I want to see the Prophet in my sleep. I want to see the Prophet in my sleep. No, they want to live the life, because you're living with the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam every single day. You're living with the Sunnah. When you're reading the Sunnah, you're practicing the Sunnah. That's more important to them than to focus on. If they see the Prophet in a dream, alhamdulillah, it's a huge blessing. But it's not something that I saw like the ulama they tried to do, or so just if you see him, you see him, But the main thing is like you want to just focus on seeing him through his Sunnah, seeing you can see it, It's nothing better than that, just living through the Sunnah, seeing them through the Sunnah.
A brother asks, Assalamu alaikum, Ustaz.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa
What's
barakatuh.
the strongest opinion on moon sighting?
The strongest opinion with what?
On moon sighting. Moon sighting.
I mean, what issue about the moon sighting?
He just says, what's the strongest opinion on moon sighting?
I don't understand the question, so.
Gotta be a Ramadan question. He's fighting moon.
I mean, we talked about all the different issues pertaining to moon sighting in Ramadan.
وقال العيد
Huh?
وقال العيد.
Is he asking like when is the moon, when is the Eid, or what?
Oh, so he didn't. That's all that he asked.
The Eid is Sunday, right?
Is the Eid the start of a new month?
No, the month already started.
Yeah, because that's sighting the moon at the beginning of the month.
Because the Eid's on the 10th. So
Yeah, that's what sighting the moon is.
I don't know what he means by the strongest opinion about. I mean, because there's different issues. So what issues are you talking about?
Gotta be some kind of Ramadan or the Hajj. Gotta be something. I'm like, why do you tell me sighting the moon?
Also, he's clarifying it. He says some people take the east side. Some people have the personal see. That's what he's asking. You take the siding from maybe like Saudi, or do you?
I mean, there's three different opinions about that. So the first opinion is if one Muslim country sees it and that country is known to be honest, then everybody has to fast. And this is for Ramadan, right? Or everybody, the Hajj or whatever. That's the new moon, right? Or the other opinion is that they have to be in the same The same mutlaq, which means we're in the same time zone. So the moon comes up in our area, all in the same area. So because we're in the same mutlaq that we take from our area, but we won't take from outside of our area. And some people, they say, no, we take only from if I see it, because they go back to the hadith of Abdullah ibn Umar, I believe it's Abdullah ibn Umar, right? إذا رأيتموه فصوموا وإذا رأيتموه فافطروا فإن غم عليكم فاقدروا له. So here the Prophet ﷺ said, if you see it, then fast, and if you see it, then break your fast. So he put it with the seeing of the sighting of the moon. So we could say, well, we didn't sight the new moon. They sighted it in Saudi, but we didn't sight it here, so we're not going to fast for Saudi because they cited it, but we didn't cite it. We're going to go on our side. And that's an opinion. The stronger opinion, the easiest opinion to follow right now is because I talked about this over and over and over, is that we don't have these types of committees. So we can't, we don't have just rely on a person that just walked out and just said, I saw the new moon. I'm like, okay, who are you? Do we even know who you are?
Yeah.
What's this person's religion like? Is he a person that's always in the masjid? Is he a person that's trustworthy, honest? Do we know him? So, I mean, there's a lot that goes into that. And then you look at the aspect of, for example, Saudi, they have these committees, especially with Hajj. Hajj and Ramadan, these are the two times that they take the most seriously as far as these committees, because Hajj is in Mecca. With Mecca right now is in Saudi Arabia. So they're not going to play games with going out and sighting the new moon. They're going to have, the committees going out in different areas trying to sight it, because if they make any mistake with the new moon sighting, these Khawarij are ready to pounce on them like nobody's business. See, all these other countries, they make mistakes all the time. You see in Morocco, Yemen, and all these, they made mistakes. Nobody talks about them. Nobody sits there and says, oh, okay, well, Yemen made a mistake in the moon sighting. Let Saudi make that mistake. And boy, they're going to get dragged through the mud on social media, left and right. So for them, they take a lot of effort to make sure that doesn't happen. So I mean, they're just more trustworthy as far as that in that regard. But I mean, if the person took the opinion that, look, we didn't cite it in our locale, you go out and you try to cite the new moon and it's a clear day, clear night, and you didn't cite it, and you choose to take that opinion, then who's going to argue with you about that? So either opinion is valid. Right now, we don't have, if we had, for example, one Muslim country and all the other Muslim countries were underneath this one Muslim country, and that one Wali al-Amr, that one person of authority said, tomorrow's Ramadan, everybody fast, khalas, we're done. Then everybody has to obey that one person. That's it. That's it. So you look at the time of Abu Bakr, he told everybody, tomorrow's Ramadan, everybody fast. That's it. Nobody now has the ability to go back and disobey him and say, no, we're not going to fast. So any more questions?
Some more questions about dreams.
I'm not a dream interpreter, so save those questions for somebody else, inshallah.
بس يشرح لهم انه اذا يشوفون النبي في منامهم، يشرح لهم اذا يشوفون النبي في منامهم يحتاجون يعرفون كيف شكله. الشياطين يحبون يفعلون يحبون يجون عند أحوال الناس زي النبي.
They got to go to a person who knows what the description of the Prophet ﷺ is and give the description. If they saw him in a dream, to make sure that the description is correct.
So I don't know who Young P is, but probably got to keep an eye on him.
Where's Chicken Fingers at?
He's in here.
You see Chicken Fingers?
Chicken Fingers is here.
Just making sure Chicken Fingers is present today.
Yeah, he's been acting. What's one? From Young P? No. Oh, it's oh, okay, I see it. It's this is Chicken Fingers, actually. How to prevent burnout and revolve our day and time around Islam and seeking knowledge in its various ways and forms.
Side by side, Chicken Fingers. You know, you work hard, and you work hard and you put in work, and then you go get some chicken fingers and you relax. You get some barbecue sauce and sweet and sour sauce and
Chill out.
chill out. Because the Prophet ﷺ, he said, in the hadith, he said, "Sta'ina bil ghadwati wa rawhati wa shay'in min ad-dulja." So he mentioned the three times of the day that the people benefit from. You benefit most from the early part of the day. Where the Prophet ﷺ said, "Allahumma barak li ummati fi bukuriha." He asked Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to put blessing in his ummah for everything that it does in the early part of the day. So the most of the barakah that you're going to have is in the early part of the day. And then that's the easiest way to not get burned out, is to get the stuff done early and get it done, and then make it a habit of getting it done in the early part. So the Prophet also mentioned 3 parts of the day. He said al-ghadwa wa roha, and the roha is the last part of the day, which is after asr. As it's starting to go into the night. Wa shay'in min ad-dulja, and then some part of the later night. Use some part of the later night to do some type of good deed. So you use these times a day to try to benefit, and if you need rest, you rest. You go get some chicken fingers and you relax. I'm going to get chicken fingers tomorrow now. After the khutbah, inshallah.
There is mention of like midday rest when it talks about older woman being able to take off her outer garment during the noonday.
Now he's not asking about what he's talking about is just getting burnt out, because the main thing that gets people burnt out is trying to do too much too soon. Because you get hyped up, you go listen to some talk and you get motivated, and then you want to try to do everything, everything of the sunnah that you want to start doing it tomorrow. And then what happens, how long can you keep that up? You start off with small things, just small things,
What you do consistently.
Yeah, because the mountains are built from pebbles, man. So it's just one pebble on the next, but you keep stacking those pebbles until you have a mountain. So you start off with the small things and you just keep doing it over, like you said, consistently, and then you add a little bit, then add a little bit, then add a little bit. You can't start doing it's like trying to be like an elite athlete as soon as you get off the couch. So you can't look at like students of knowledge, like the students of knowledge and the people that are really, really into studying this deen. They're like those elite athletes. You're just coming off the couch and you want to compete with them. You're gonna get injured and burn yourself out, and all this type of damage is gonna be done to you. But the thing is they didn't start like that either. How did they start? They started small, and they started little by little, and they started adding on to it until they got to that level. Nobody's born at that level. Now everybody has to start, from some type of beginning, but you have to be consistent. And if you start to feel like that tired, like I can't, you just feel like overburdened.
And you have to be patient, because with time comes ease.
Ahmed asked, can you ask him to do a book collection video that want you to do a book collection video.
What is a book collection video?
توريهم كل الكتب حقك.
I can't because Amazon didn't send me the bookshelf. They sent me a pizza oven. It's a nice pizza oven though, I'm telling you, but it's not the bookshelf that I ordered, but who wants pizza? So,
When did the start reading from Ibn Qayyim's book?
which book?
And he said, we stopped Al-Adab on Mufrad.
No, we already took a Al-Adab al-Mufrad. We studied it already. We started supposed to do Bulugh al-Maram, but
Okay, what's up, Doc? Is it a
this is the cousin of Chicken Fingers. What's up, Doc? Is Chicken Fingers' cousin.
Is it a must to remove preventative factors and conditions before making takfir upon an individual? For example, if someone who doesn't pray at all or has any apparent Islam but claims to be Muslim, how should we deal with this individual even though he knows basic knowledge of Islam?
You should be making takfir on nobody. That's for the ulama anyways. I mean, we're talking about, like we talked about the issue of the person that leaves off salat as being a kafir. That's a general ruling. When you start specifically going in, if we open that door and just allowed anybody to just like, oh, well, if you see somebody not praying, he's a kafir. And then he runs around just calling people what? He's a kafir, she's a kafir, everybody wants to be a kafir now, right? So we open up all the doors to evil, akhi. Number one, the vast majority of people nowadays, especially with the limited knowledge, that, you're going to find a lot of the people, they don't really know, they don't know these issues. They don't. And you got to sit down, and especially in the West, you can't run around like just because the person leaves off salat. Like we said, we tell the people like, look, if you leave off the salat, this takes you out of Islam. But if I know and you tell me that this dude doesn't pray, I will not call him a kafir. I won't give him salams. And if he died, I wouldn't pray on him. But I wouldn't do that with a person who was drinking and he prayed. If he was in the point of like, somebody that he prayed 5 times a day, but he was known to drink or smoke weed, I wouldn't pray on him either. It's because of the fisq. But that's because of the situation. Because if I know his lifestyle, I can't validate his lifestyle. Praying on him, it validates what he used to do. So, but to call him a kafir, no. I mean, that's I wouldn't do that. I will not go to that. That's for the ulama. That's not for us.
What's up, Doc? Ask again. How does a layman, common folk, know who to take knowledge from and who to avoid?
I think the majority of the people can see that about the focus of what the people talk about. I mean, obviously, you see a lot of the people when they give these talks, something they read in the newspaper, something, it's not hadith based, it's not from the Quran and the Sunnah. You find people that you trust, that teach the Quran.
Opinionated a lot because I have to try to train my wife on what to, because like anything pop up on the internet, she'll, I mean, I'll be like, where you get that from? Turn the mess off. Because you gotta be real vigilant, especially on that internet. And this is what I tell her, and I tell anybody. Quit going to the internet first. Open up some books, man. Everybody want to bypass the books and just go to the internet.
Yeah.
Open up some books.
I mean, you find people, there's always in most major cities, it's always going to be like that little small group of people, students of knowledge that go out and study. You find those people and you ask them in your area, who are the people that you can take knowledge from? Yeah.
So,
Nashri.
Shahir asked a question earlier.
يضربني بهذا.
Shahir. Yeah, Shahir asked, and he says, when you ask the emoji question, can you announce me as Shahir, the ice cream person, so he knows me by name?
Shahir, the ice cream person?
Yeah. So he asked earlier, way up the feed, are emojis haram?
The pictures, the images, yeah.
Yeah. I was looking for
And if I could delete all the emojis, I would delete them. I deleted them on my Telegram. You see, anybody that goes onto my Telegram, they have like 5 choices of emojis, but all the images are taken out.
I wonder these other questions.
Yeah, I'm just sure because we when we really just think about it, then we take the image thing so lightly. You know, I'm thinking going. Okay.
So don't ask this one.
You have to really.
Yeah, it's a major issue.
Okay.
Major issue.
What's up, Doc? Asks Ustad, are Hamas considered Muslim leaders even though they work with Rafida and are upon the manhaj of Islam?
Yeah, go ask the Al-Amash. That's not a question for me.
Okay. Mogel says, do you think it is possible to make hijrah to Yemen in these times, or should I make the intention of seeking knowledge instead?
Make hijrah to Yemen. I mean, just just be ready for whatever you know.
they taking a vacation. Huh?
No, it's not going to be a vacation,
No,
because
that's what they think.
even like I remember when I was talking to Salahuddin before I came out to Jacksonville, before I came out from Jacksonville, and because he was talking about, man, the way you talk about Yemen, I want to go to Yemen. Can you help me? I was like, Akhi, I said no. And I was like, I'm not going to help you because I'm not going to be responsible for what might happen to you if you go there. I won't be able to live with myself. Because I said, man, look, Yemen is rough. Yemen is really, 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 really rough. It's not a joke, So if, it's the best place to go seek knowledge, but that best place of seeking knowledge, it comes with a price tag. And that price tag is all the comfort that you ever, that you're accustomed to. You're going to have to give that up. And then on top of that, that's just the danger. And danger that war could break out at any time. So if that's what you're ready for. But the majority of people, they're not ready for that. I've seen it over. And we're not talking about Westerners. Even Yemenis, they used to come to Damaj and be like, I'm out of here. And he goes back to Sana'a, or goes back to Aden in a week or 2 weeks. He can't even be patient there. It's not for everybody, So Yemen is rough. Yemen is very, very, Yemen is, as soon as you get into Yemen, especially out in the villages, it's like you just time traveled back 1,000 years.
I don't know how to, but it's a guy on your Tariq. You probably want to block him.
I think Majad can do it. Majad! What is he?
Yeah, he's asking 50 questions. Yeah. Okay, Anonymous asks, before him, Young P asks.
There's no questions from Muhammad Fatima today?
No.
From downstairs?
No. Young P asks, am I right what Daniel Hakikatu is going against the ruler? It's not permissible, correct, Sheikh?
Huh?
So am I right what Daniel Hakikatu is going against the ruler? It's not permissible, correct, Sheikh? He's basically asking, is that right, Sheikh?
You have a choice, Akhi. We did a translation of a book. It was written by a student in Yemen, but we never published the book because I don't like translations. But it was a translation of 40 hadiths about the obligation of not speaking and having obedience to the Muslim ruler. 40 authentic hadiths. So do you want to follow those 40 hadiths, or do you want to follow some idiot in Houston with a Harvard diploma, he studied his religion in Harvard.
Okay, but to my knowledge, we are to obey the rules, right?
Yes.
Okay.
That's what I'm saying. I'm saying
I thought maybe I had it wrong.
the Muslim rulers.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Not these kuffar.
Yeah, but I don't.
These kuffar, they have no authority over us whatsoever.
But
we live in the country and we abide by the laws to keep the peace because we're not chaos and rabble rouser, whatever you call it. We're not chaos causers. But Joe Biden is not our authority at all. But if you live in a Muslim country and you have a Muslim ruler, you obey him in the obedience to Allah. But if he orders you to do something that's in disobedience to Allah, you don't obey him in that thing, but you obey him in the other things. So if the Muslim ruler tells you to wear a seatbelt, put on a seatbelt. It's not disobedience to Allah. It's just something that, okay, just put on a seatbelt. And if you say, I'm not going to wear a seatbelt, and you die, that's on you, akhi, because you're just dying out of just disobedience for no reason. You know, we're not talking about obedience to them and the things that are haram. So the ruler commands you to go out and, go to a concert, a party, or celebrate holidays from the kuffar. We don't do that. That's not permissible. That obedience is only in line with the obedience to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and His Messenger. That's it. But that doesn't mean that they call you to disobedience to Allah and His Messenger that we stop obeying Him in all aspects, because would you do the same thing to your parents? If your mother, our obedience to our parents is what? Also the same obedience like the obedience to the ruler, because they're both authority figures. So your mother, if she tells you to do something that's in line with the Quran and the Sunnah, or your mother tells you put on a seatbelt, could you say, Mom, I don't want to put on a seatbelt? That's what we're talking about in Al-Adab and Mufrad. Which is what? You're disobeying your mother. She just told you to put on a seatbelt, put on a seatbelt. But if she tells you to do something that's impermissible, your mother tells you to drink alcohol, your mother tells you to take some drugs, do you disobey her in that, or do you disobey her now? You disobey her in that, right? But does that mean that now you disobey her in everything? No, you just disobey her in that one thing. But some people, they think, if the ruler tells us to do something haram, that all the obedience goes. But see, the thing about it is these idiots, akhi, they spend all their time talking about Saudi this, Saudi that. Akhi, I don't live in Saudi Arabia. Y'all get this through your heads. Because I live, right now, I'm from Jacksonville, but I don't live in Jacksonville. So as much as I love the brothers in Jacksonville and I keep in touch with them, my concerns are not what's going on in Jacksonville right now. I live on the west side of Fresno. This is the west side, right? Yeah. Okay. All right, that's my concern. My concern is what's going on here, teaching the people here. What goes on in Saudi, not my concern right now. That's Saudi's concern. As people that live in Saudi, that's their concern. But these people, all they want to do is they want to keep the people's attention on social media. What's going on in this country? What's going on in your own neighborhood? If that dude in Houston has so much knowledge, where is his masjid in Houston? Which masjid in Houston is allowing him to teach the deen, where he's going and giving the khutbah every Friday and having classes in the masjid? Wallahi, you can't show me one masjid in Houston that allows that fool to teach. All he does is cause problems. We're concerned about the communities that we live in. What goes on in Saudi is not fixing the problems that we have here. We have women, we got the problems with the women, we got the problem with the drugs, we got the problems with all the stuff that's going on. If you sit here in any of these communities and listen to the questions that come from the people every day, akhi, you think we got time to think about what's going on? You got how many brothers in this community died of overdoses from fentanyl? How many people in this community have been killed from gang violence? How many, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, a lot. So over the years, I mean, when we went and visited the graveyard, the Muslim graveyard, the brother sitting there telling me, this brother overdosed, this brother got shot and killed, this brother, so I'm concerned now about what's going on in Saudi. This is going to take up all my time where I got to get on social media and talk about obedience to, look, you're in a Muslim country, you obey the Muslim ruler. Yeah, you sit up in America amongst the Bilad al-Kufar and you obey these Kufar. But now you want to sit there and call it to the disobedience of a Muslim ruler. Then there's something ain't right here. Something's not adding up here. But when they're and on, there's some way.
I just got here.
Welcome back, Abdul Malik. You're my concern. Saturday is not my concern. Abdul Malik is my concern.
Another brother asked, Ustad, what to do if I made a mistake in the second taslim or pronouncing the mad in Allah? Should I ignore this since it seems like waswas?
It seems like waswas. Yeah. I don't know exactly what the mistake is, but
pronouncing the mad in Allah.
Nah, it's probably just waswasa.
That's crazy. Well, I ain't gonna talk crazy.
And what would you do in a situation like that? Just do your son in the shower to
No, he's just having like Did I say this right? Did I say this right? I think that's what the question is.
Elongation, right? Isn't that the mother?
Yeah, the mud is yeah.
Iron Mike wants to know if Ustad knows and studied with Ustad Hassan Somali in Yemen.
Why would I study with him?
Likewise, Abdullah.
I mean, it's not. And I'm not disrespecting him, but I'm saying I studied in Damaj. He wasn't teaching in Damaj. He wasn't nobody in Damaj. So it's like, why would I study with him? I studied with Fareed in America, and Fareed is way stronger than any of these brothers that you mentioned. And when I went to Damaj, he wasn't teaching nothing. He wasn't like, you know what I'm saying? He was just another student, like another just face in the village. He wasn't. So, and there's brothers that, well, alhamdulillah, you got Mundhir, you got Abdul Hakim. These brothers that sat in Damaj for way over a decade. You know, you're gonna mention names, mention those brothers. Yeah, I studied with Abdul Hakim. Abdul Hakim was in Damascus for 15 years. He's the brother that taught me, more than 15 years, I think. He's the brother that taught me Arabic. And that's a strong brother. If you're going to ask me about somebody that I studied with, as far as like students, ask me about somebody who actually taught in Damascus.
What is some profound advice this is from Iron Mike. What is some profound advice that the Shuyukh of Yemen gave you before departing Yemen that has stuck with you till now and has affected your life drastically in the right direction?
It's not advice, Akhi, it's the lifestyle. When you sit with a sheikh day in and day out and you see him all day long, you see him like, I was first in the masjid, like I was there when Sheikh Yahya first took the chair. So Sheikh Yahya at that time, he used to do all of his research in Sheikh Mobil's library, the big library, which is the library that every student went to do research. So I used to just go to the library and watch him. I sit there with my books, but I sit there and I study and I write maybe for an hour straight, then I sit there and just watch him for like 20, 30 minutes. Then I get motivated again and I start writing for like an hour and we just keep doing like this. You know, just watching him. You get to see him day in and day out, and you see that this guy never takes a break. This is his life. Like this is real. There's no advice that he could give me that could take the place of just watching him on a daily basis, watching him have to deal with the tribes, watching him have to deal with all the issues of the students, and still teaching those lessons day in and like never miss. He's not like me. See, I get like allergies and I can't. Oh, the class is canceled today. Nah, Sheikh Yahya go to the class with an IV in his arm. You know,
This really happened.
yeah. They bombed the masjid in Bukhari, and he's still teaching. They were bombing his house, and he was walking out, going to the masjid to teach Bukhari. That's a man, you know what I'm saying? So you see a person like that. Nah, there's like, what advice could he give you? His life is advice. You know what I'm saying? Like anytime that I can sit back and just think about like this person and watching what he did. And then watching how he carried himself and watching all the stuff that he had to go through, all the trials and tribulations, and how he handled them, that's the best advice. But you can only get that if you're around those ulama. You can't get that on YouTube. You can't get that through social media. You know, you're definitely not gonna get it from us in the West, like us, because we don't have that. That's a whole nother level. You know.
My father makes me watch
videos. You got philosophic meaning behind it, you know, when it comes to like how to correct yourself in your stuff like that.
There was a cane. Hey, I saw the kids. They had a cane over here.
Might be in the room.
Yeah, I saw it somewhere.
That's right there, right where.
Something getting thrown here.
So the brother asked, my father makes me watch, this is Mutana.
What is it?
His name is Mutana.
My
father makes me watch TV. I said I didn't want to. He shouted at me, so I watched the movie, but I hate watching movies. Will I be rewarded for my effort and the pain I went through, or is it a sin as I watch the movie?
It's a sin. Again, the obedience is in the obedience to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.
He's supposed to follow what his father say, right?
Not in disobedience to Allah.
What
In
is
obedience.
the movie? I mean, probably was just entertainment.
I mean, the easiest thing to do is when he comes in and says, watch a movie with me, say, Dad, I was about to read Quran. You know, and which is more important, Dad, reading Quran or watching the movie? What's he gonna do?
And that when it comes to saying the right word at the right time.
The brother says, Harun, I was like, oh, Ustad, my mom gives me so much food, and I ask her not to, but she still gives me 5 meals. Can I refuse the food? When I say stop, she says I have to eat because she's my mom.
It sounds like you're living a good life, Akhi. Is he complaining or what?
Wait. You want me to tell you his plate? Wait, you want me to tell you anything like that? Omar's daughter, Ronnie, because you know Ronnie married to Dave, right? So I'd be over their house and she'll be like, Cricket, you want something to eat? I don't care how many times I say, a little bit. And she bring me a whole plate of food every time.
What's the problem with that? This is what I'm trying to figure out. Was that a complaint? Because if that was a complaint, man,
Okay.
we're gonna have to wrap this up though. It's almost 11 o'clock.
Yeah, I'm hungry too.
Yeah. I was past hungry. Tomorrow's Friday, and we
You
gotta
gonna wrap it up?
and we gotta come back here and do some crackhead watch.
Yeah.
See these dudes try to jump up in the masjid again this morning. So, yeah.
I don't know how to turn this phone on.
Who's this? That's me,
Don't
Joe.
call it down already?
Huh?
The down been called?
Oh, you shut it off?
No.
Hey, we'll stop inshallah. إلهنا سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك. Who's gonna call the adhan? Well, no, I got actually. You know how to do it?
Nope.
I don't either, man.
Well, you just touch it if you touch it.
Yeah, Mujahid. No, because when you do that, it zooms in. Wait. I don't want to mess that up. Where did Mujahid go?
Allah Akbar, Allah Akbar, Allah Akbar, Allah Akbar. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah. Ashhadu anna Muhammadan Rasulullah. Ashhadu anna Muhammadan Rasulullah. Hayy salat. Hayy